for a video I'm doing in the future. We'll see, because I want to do another video on CERN on my main channel. What this comes down to is that CERN is a very worrisome place because they are playing with forces that they just don't know anything about. They literally are recreating what the forces that were present at the beginning of the Big Bang. That is a fact. I know it sounds scary. The reason it sounds scary is because it is scary. So how are they recreating forces that are present at the Big Bang? So they build these, and you know this, I'm going to do this really fast because I know a lot of you know this. They build a giant tunnel. Kind of looks like a NASCAR track, right? But it's just a big pipe. And in the pipe, they have magnets to hold a particle in place and shoot it in a straight line and curve around and go all around this thing over and over. Every time a particle passes through, okay? Every time a particle goes around this racetrack, goes around and around, there are very powerful magnets that are pointed in a direction to where it will increase the speed of the particle that's flowing around it until it reaches speeds that are 99.9991% the speed of light, or something like that. I think it's 6 nines, but I'm not sure. So, here's the deal. They say to you that this is perfectly safe. It's not going to cause any bad reactions. Now, that's where I actually differ with CERN. I state that they are pulling a scientific Jordan Sather, a scientific lift the veil. They have not tested this theory. They don't know that if you increase a very heavy particle like lead almost to the speed of light and then smash it. Now, another ironic thing that they have going on is on another racetrack that goes the opposite direction, they have another particle speeding in the other direction. What they do is they feed those particles into a lane at the same time so that they hit each other and smash apart. Now, you know this. A lot of you have studied CERN. You've studied this kind of thing, right? Now, when these particles smash apart, you've got the tiniest particle. You can't even see it. The ironic thing is that these tiniest particles ever, when they smash apart, they shoot out in all directions pieces of those particles. So what do scientists do? They look at the predictable path, the trajectory, the makeup of the particles that split out. You've got electrons, neutrinos, protons. They all split out in all directions along with a massive energy burst. Now, why do they say they're trying to recreate the circumstances of the Big Bang? Because once you start... Now, the thing is, at the beginning of existence of this universe that we know of, theoretically, through science, that's one thing science won't tell you, is that this is theoretical. Well, it is theoretical. Regardless of what they tell you or how they present it, it's theoretical. They haven't traveled back to the beginning of the universe, and if they did, they would evaporate inside the Big Bang. Anyway, what they're saying is thank you, Alyssa. Appreciate you. Everyone, consider PayPal. It'd really help us out. No pressure, though. Thanks for the donut. So what we see here is that as these things get closer and closer and closer to the speed of light, when they impact each other, they release an amount of energy and heat. And, in a very, very, very small area, but still, they release this amount of energy that is the same or similar to what was present in the creation of the universe. They keep wanting to speed these faster. Now, I'm personally am under the scientific idea that you have to... in order to take a particle of lead, which is a very heavy particle, and speed it out, every time you speed it up, it's like you're adding more nines. So let's say you're going like 999999999999999 the speed of light. Well, then they just go up and turn this 6 to a 9, and then the next digit they turn to a 9 as they keep speeding it up. And they're building more and more facilities to try to get these things to go faster and faster and faster, because if they can get them as close as possible to the speed of light, they are thinking that they will learn something. They will gain knowledge that they don't have about our universe. Are they gaining knowledge that they don't have about our universe by doing this? Well, reportedly they are. Reportedly, it's almost like a way of testing equations, a way of gaining more data to filter through, to ponder through, to draw hypotheses from, to try to draw scientific testing upon those hypotheses, and then replicate them, redo them, you get me? So where's the danger? Where's the danger? Why do people get scared about this? Well, here's the deal. Now, you guys know and I know that there is a statue at CERN of the god Shiva. And the god Shiva, and I'm just reading a book about the god Shiva right now in my spare time to try to get a better understanding. The god Shiva usually is depicted inside of a circle. This god has like a bunch, like either 6 or 8 arms, I forget how many. Shiva is the god of creation, but also the god of destruction. I'll get a PayPal sometime soon. I'm on a phone. Well, thanks, Alyssa. No problem. I just appreciate your donos very much. So, a lot of people look at Shiva sitting in front of CERN, all right? And they start to say, why is it that this facility that purports to do scientific testing, why do they have an Indian ancient god at the facility? Isn't that a little weird? Not only that, this god literally starts and ends the cycle of the beginning and end of the universe. It starts the cycle of recreation. Another weird thing, though, is that in India, there are these buildings that are said to be built. There are temples that are said to be built with harmonic resonance involved, and you study them and they hold secrets to the universe. That's the rumor of these buildings, these Indian buildings, these Indian temples. Now, the ceilings of these, a few of these, look exactly like a particle collider. Now, you can barely see it here. I'll try to find a better one. Now, here's the weird part. Now, some of them look more than others. I'll find the one that I saw, but... Basically, what a lot of people don't know about India is inside the Vedic texts, which are considered real religious texts of India. Inside the Vedic texts, which are very similar to ancient Christian texts and other ancient texts. They have stories of the flood. They've got stories of gods and men mingling together. They've got stories of gods coming to the earth inside of what some people describe as UFOs, but inside of these golden or silver chariots. They even in India, in the Vedic texts, have the description on how to build a flying machine. They've got the description of people going to other planets. They've got descriptions of the solar system that are very accurate for the time. These Vedic texts, I'm trying to read through them because I want to try to find the claims and find the similarities and put it into videos on the main channel. That's kind of the stuff I do on my main channel. I know it sounds kind of crazy. It's a little different from what I do here, right? Well, that's just what I do. I'm just interested in this stuff. A lot of other people are too. They follow me on my main channel. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is if they are right inside the Vedic text. Now, another thing, there are thousands and thousands of Vedic texts that aren't even translated yet. They're still trying to translate them. But if you've ever heard of a Vimana, and I'm sure you've had, these are real, my friends, so don't think this is some ancient aliens thing. This is real. Now, inside the Vedic texts, they tell how to create a flying almost city or a flying craft, a spacecraft, a flying spacecraft. a craft that would fly up into the air that would house people with a kitchen, with a bathroom. They used things like mercury spinning inside of these machines to create electrical vortexes that would negate gravity, at least for these floating things. Now, these are in books from thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. We also have things like pyramids. Now, we've got New Age pyramids, ones that look like they were built to mimic the bigger pyramids that were more ancient than the earlier pyramids. Now, one funny thing is that archaeology denies this. Archaeology just says the pyramids were built by the Egyptians. They were not already there, and the Egyptians didn't mimic the pyramids to try to, build pyramids like their god or their ancestor. They just, they built all of them. That's how it is. But in all reality, that's not true. There is also scientific testing that shows that the pyramids naturally pull electricity from the ground. Now, what's a little weird to me is that the pyramids kind of look like Vimanas. They do kind of look like Vimanas. For all we know, these pyramids, you know how the capstone is missing on the Great Pyramid, which is the pyramid said to be older than the Egyptians, but the capstone is not missing on the Egyptian pyramids. So many strange things, but this is the main thing that you need to understand. Inside the Vedic texts, they talk about nuclear weapons. In India, they found an area that was affected by a nuclear blast. This is a fact. In the desert, there is a city that was hit by a nuclear blast. In the Vedic text, they talk of a war where they blew up a city with a nuclear blast. Now, sure, it could have been a meteor. Meteors can explode with the same kind of energy that could liquefy and turn vitrification. They could turn the sand and stone and people into glass structures there, right? What's even weirder is even though this block in the pyramid probably is a few different hieroglyphics drawn on top of each other, some people say that these are Vimanas. This looks like a helicopter. This looks like a UFO. This looks like another UFO. Now, some people will say, no, these are the combinations of different hieroglyphic texts that were put on the one block, and instead of throwing that block away, they just put another blank block in front of it. They found this block because another block fell off. A blank block fell off, and this was behind it. This has been this has been something an topic of contention between archaeologists and other people for an extremely long time. And I know you guys have heard of this. What I'm trying to tell you is the Vedic texts do talk about equations. They do talk about nuclear power. They talk about electricity. They talk about flying. Now, Western society would have all of us believe that these are new concepts and they've never been thought of before. Science fiction was imagined in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and all this other crazy stuff. That's just not the case. Thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, there are books written that talk about science fiction-like things. What is the shocker here? What's the shocker? The shocker is that Shiva was physically represented in these same books that talk about nuclear energy, nuclear blast, flying machines, Vimanas, other stars, other planets, other realms, other dimensions, how human beings can access nuclear power, how they can live with free energy, how all these things are represented in thousand-year-old books, basically from another time, a time that we have forgotten a lot of our past. And if you want to say that the pyramids were built by human beings and not by any other way, you could say, well, if humans built Vimanas, they could just transfer the blocks with them. If the humans built, you get what I'm saying, right? Because a lot of people say there are blocks that are represented at ancient sites, megalithic sites, that are so big they could have never been moved there, and none of their material that make up these blocks are native to the area. How would they move them that far to get them there when we can't even move them a single inch? Not even with our machines we have today. They're so big, there's so much tonnage. Why is it that there are a lot of people studying these books, but Western ideology won't even look at them? You would think that there would be an entire school for people to try to sit down and translate these, because what one woman did was build a Vimana literally off of nothing more but the instructions in one of these books. They took the Vimana at like 1/100th scale to a wind tunnel and tested it, and it would have flew perfectly if it had so much thrust to lift it. What they found out was that type of thrust wasn't even as much as you would think you would need to make it fly. Did human beings used to fly all over the world a long time ago? There's even more data that shows that's possible. The Perry-Reese map outlines Antarctica with no snow before they... Now, it could be that they forgot the snow. They literally, through the snow, show these things. Will do, dead. They literally show these things. They show the Antarctica as it was under the snow, because you can look with satellites and see the coastline of Antarctica. It looks different with snow laid around it and ice. These old maps show Antarctica with no snow from the perspective of above it. It's very strange when you start to put all this together and ask yourself, do scientists now have a different agenda? Are they even lied to some extent? And is there an organization with a different agenda paying these scientists to do this work and produce the data? Maybe the scientists also don't know what their agenda is, what their greater agenda is. But is it possible that there is a nefarious agenda going on with the scientific research that continually keeps saying that our ancestors, who, by all respects, we should give them some type of credit for the pyramids, some type of credit for megalithic places, some type of credit for technology. There were no residue of torches inside the pyramids ever. And the builders of the pyramids would have needed light inside to be able to fashion the chambers the way they did. How does this all compute? What does science ask us to compute? How does science ask us to compute this? It basically doesn't. Science basically tells us to F off. It says, we're going to tell you how it was. Doesn't matter if you find any evidence to the contrary. If you do find evidence to the contrary and you present it in a real way, we're going to censor you. If you present the evidence in a massive, crazy conspiracy theory involving drinking blood and doing all this, we'll leave your videos up. But if you